Hey guys, and welcome back to another Q&A video. Now, this week, I didn't ask you guys to submit any questions, but I thought instead I would answer some of the most frequently asked questions that you guys have had for me on Instagram and in the comment section. Now, what prompted this is I got a package in the mail today, and the contents aren't that exciting. It's just a pack or a set of 6S motors. I'm going to be converting my original Nazgul from 4S to 6S so that it matches my Nazgul V2, or in this case, the Nazgul HD. And I realized that a few of these questions that I've been meaning to answer in other videos, but for whatever reason, I just skipped over, kind of all revolve around my little project for today. And I thought, why not take this as an opportunity to do another Q&A and answer some of them for you. So that's what we're gonna do. Let's get into it. Question 1. Now, the first question isn't actually about the motors or the drones, but it's about the package. Now, I got this order from a company called Banggood, and if you've been following my channel, you might realize that a lot of the links I post are from this company. Now, a lot of you guys have been wondering, what is Banggood and why have I never heard of it? And more often than not, the question I get is, are they safe and can I trust them? So I'm gonna try to answer that question first. Are they safe? And I'd say the short answer to that is yes. The company has a long enough record of honesty where I feel it's safe to say that they're trustworthy. Personally, I've made over 90 orders on Banggood at this point, and each one of those has arrived in working conditions without a problem. The reason you might have never heard of them is because they're a much smaller distributor than, let's say, Amazon or AliExpress, and because of that, they seem to focus more on certain niche and emerging markets, FPV being one of those. Now, in the FPV community, Banggood is pretty well known, and by well known, I mean that people have extremely strong and opposite opinions of them. And this is why. Here are some of the pros and cons of shopping at Banggood. First, the pros. First of all, Banggood ships to a very wide range of countries. So if you live outside of North America, like I do, and struggle to get items shipped to you from all these American FPV companies, Banggood usually has you covered. The other great thing about Banggood is their shipping costs are extremely low. So to get these motors shipped to me, I think I paid like $1 or $2 in shipping, while if I was to get these shipped from the US, I'd probably have to pay around $15. And especially if you're making a lot of small orders, those shipping costs add up very quickly. So the reason why a lot of the links I post are from Banggood is just because 95% of the FPV orders I make are from them. And it would feel weird to promote a company that I don't use. That being said, they're not perfect, and here are some of the cons. If you're buying an item that's in stock and it's popular, usually it'll ship fairly quickly, and you'll have it at your door in 2 to 3 weeks, depending on where you live. However, it's always important to read under the item's description. Sometimes it'll say, this item is expected to ship in weeks from now, and it'll still let you purchase that item, but if you do, don't expect to get it until 2 to 3 weeks after that date. So if you miss that message and still purchase the item, sometimes you'll be waiting an extremely long time to get it. However, the one thing you might run into every once in a while, but maybe a little bit more often than you should, is inaccurate stock. And if anybody from Banggood is watching this and you guys are able to change or improve on one thing, it would be this. But sometimes it'll say an item is in stock and you purchase it and you're waiting for it, but I guess in the warehouse they look for it, they can't find it, and 2 weeks from now your order is canceled and you get your money back. Now, I've never ever had a problem getting a refund, but it's just an inconvenience because you're waiting for this item to ship and then weeks from now your order is just canceled and you have to go buy it somewhere else. And I've been there, it sucks. So the decision whether or not you should shop there boils down to what other options do you have available and what do you value more? A good bargain and cheap shipping, or reliable and consistent service? Personally, I'm just really grateful that a company like Banggood exists, or I wouldn't be able to get this invested in FPV if it wasn't for them. Question 2. I want to get the Nazgul5. Should I get the V1 or the V2? Now, this one used to be the V1, but I've done a lot of changes to it. Just for the sake of this question, let's pretend. There's about a $40 difference between these two drones. So what is the difference? So the first upgrade they made in the V2 is updating the video transmitter. Now, I never had any problems with mine, but some people said that over time, their video transmitter in the V1 would burn out and they'd have to get it replaced. So iFlight wanted to improve on that, so they changed to a newer video transmitter. Another big upgrade in the V2 is a slightly bigger frame with more space in the back so that they could fit a Caddx Vista in the HD version. I ended up upgrading my original Nazgul to the V2 frame as well so that I could put a Vista in both. And the only other difference between the frames is that the new one comes with this cool LED light in the bottom, which you can't see right now because there's no battery plugged in. The only other difference that seems significant to me is the unboxing experience of the V2. And I wish I filmed this, but one thing that frustrated me when I was first getting into FPV is the lack of directions that companies would give you when you buy one of these bind and fly drones. But with the Nazgul V2, I thought it was great. Everything was labeled. You had very clear instructions, which I think a lot of beginners would really value. Next question, 4S or 6S? What's the difference? Both of those numbers simply refer to the type of battery you're going to use with either drone. A 4S battery, you can't see it right now, but it's actually composed of 4 separate batteries working together to generate power, while a 6S battery is composed of 6. Therefore, a 6S battery is more powerful than a 4S battery. But yes, when you purchase the drone, the batteries don't come with it. So why do they sell 2 separate models? Well, if you were to use a 6S battery on a 4S drone, you would get significantly more power, but the motors might spin so quickly that they'll end up getting burnt out. So usually with a 6S battery, you'd pair it with motors that have a lower kV and will spin slower so that the two end up balancing each other out. The benefit of that is with the 6S, you end up with more efficiency, which leads to slightly longer flight times. And with the Nazgul, I also found that with 6S, it's significantly faster. So yes, overall, 6S seems better in every way. So then, is there no argument? Should you just buy 6S? Well, if you're purchasing your first quad, 6S will most likely feel too powerful for you, and it could be fairly dangerous. The good news is you can put a throttle limit on your 6S quad, which will limit the maximum speed you can fly at and will make it feel more like a 4S quad. Then you can practice at that lower speed for as long as you want and bump it up when you're ready. The only other difference I can think of is that 6S batteries are slightly more expensive than 4S batteries. And the difference isn't as big as it used to be. The 6S ones are maybe only $1 or $2 extra, but just something to be mindful of. Now, do I regret starting at 4S and then transitioning to 6S? Not really. There's still a lot of drones that are being made which only fly 4S, so chances are if you do start with 4S, you can still find another purpose for those batteries later on. Anyways, that's it. Those are all the questions I wanted to answer today. But I do kind of like doing these Q&A videos, so I might turn into a regular thing every 2 months or so. Make sure to follow me on Instagram. You can ask your questions there, and who knows, maybe you'll make it into the next video. But as always, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.